Go ahead, we're listening. Uh-huh. Uh-huh.
What did they ask for? Whatever it is, they can have it.
They want your case of Wonka bars. Miss Curtis, did you hear me? It's your husband's life or your case of Wonka bars.
How long will they give me to think it over?
Welcome back to the Harbor. I'm your host, the Kino Cowboy. I'm here with Scott, like usual, and today we're talking about what some may consider to be a holiday movie, despite it not technically being a holiday movie, but a film that always seemed to air on TV around Thanksgiving or that in-between season, and it's called Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory. Not Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, Willy Wonka.
That's
Now, we
the
might-
book or the, I don't want to say underrated, but if you just take it as camp, I kind of enjoy Tim Burton's version. But only, but not really because I enjoy the movie, but because I enjoy how weird it is in contrast and how off the mark it is in certain ways.
There's about 1/3 of Tim Burton's filmography that I mess with, that I like, and the rest just doesn't do it for me. Charlie and Chocolate Factory is like this in-between area of like, I like parts of it, and then other parts I'm just like, whatever. But I'm not going to turn it off if it's on TV because it is an interesting, I don't know. It's interesting to see a different interpretation.
It's mid. It's a mid movie. I didn't see it when it came out because I didn't want to, because this movie is sacred to me. This is one of my first movies. Like, this is one of these, core memory gets you into film and cinema types of movies that, like, kids would watch stuff over and over and over. I did that with this movie when I was a kid.
Yeah.
And I will still watch it. And I don't remember the last time I watched it beginning to end, not just parts on TV.
That's the part for me is like, we never like rented this film, but it was on TV a lot, and I saw it a ton as a kid.
I don't remember it around the holidays a lot. I don't consider it
usually around Thanksgiving-ish.
Okay.
That's when I would see it the most. Now, that's the thing, is that I watched it so much on TV that it wasn't until I was older that I realized that I was missing a lot of the movie, because when I would start the movie, or, I usually turn on and either they're going to the factory or it's like on Mike TV, his introduction, usually around that point or something. And it wasn't until I was older that I really appreciated and realized how great like the first 30, 40 minutes are compared to the rest of it, which is beloved. But like, there's some funny stuff.
To believe in one's dreams is a manifestation of insanity, and the sooner you accept this, the sooner you'll get well.
But I dreamed the archangel appeared and whispered into my ear and told me where to find a golden Wonka ticket.
And what exactly did he say?
Well, what difference does that make? This was a dream, a fantasy. I mean, you said just now...
Shut up, Hofstadter, and tell me where the ticket is.
In that first part of the film.
There's funny stuff, very British humor.
Yeah.
Even though I think this was, what was this, an American British production sort of joint thing?
Yeah, but it has that like almost Monty Python late 60s, early 70s British humor. Yeah.
Well, and it's essential for building up the mystique. It's like Jaws, Willy Wonka. He's like the shark in Jaws. I've been saying that with everything recently. And I don't know. I do think other movies, they lose that mystique because they try to go straight to wacky,
Yeah.
And I'm wondering how this new Wonka is going to do, because I've yet to see the Paddington movies. It's getting pretty good reviews.
I'm worried it's going to be too fluffy, too candy-ish.
Oh yeah, it will be.
I know, but like there's some weird, off-putting shit in this movie.
Exactly, and that's why it tracks. And here's the thing: Roald Dahl got this, which is why he is, I mean, arguably the greatest children's author of the 20th century. It's like what, him and who else's competition? Dr. Seuss, which is really a different age demographic entirely. And I enjoyed reading his books growing up. I enjoyed reading and watching Matilda. I'm a big fan of the guy. He understood that children can be attracted to darkness and can be attracted to all of those same places in our minds and in our humanity that adults are. You just have to present it in a childlike way, or in a way that children will find interesting.
Yes. And that's really apparent when you first get the introduction to the factory. It's got this strangeness and mysteriousness to it. And it's kind of this
guy with knives.
Yeah, the guy with the knives on the cart. He's like telling him how
always
no one
creep me
goes
out.
in, no one comes out, and it's just this off-putting kind of scene. And I like the film grain because it's like late 60s looking, and it sets this atmosphere that you forget is there if you watch it on TV and miss the first 30 minutes.
Right. Well, and Wonka's an industrialist. He's a
Yeah.
Henry Ford type.
Yeah.
And he controls the market. It's all through whimsy, but really, and it's because this movie's through the eyes of a child, but the entire world revolves around Wonka's candy in this story. It seems like it's it's more important than the government, any other industry, than healthcare, than transport. It's like the main commodity of planet Earth and human civilization is Wonka bars in this movie.
Yeah.
And it just ramps up to 11. Yeah, we have this entire candy-based economy, which honestly, the way inflation is and price gouging, I would be willing to try out because I don't know what we're doing now, but it ain't working.
Yeah, it's like
a normal box of cereal. And Golden Grams are $5 for a box that'll give me 4 bowls. You're out of your goddamn mind, dude.
At Kroger, some are like $6.98. Yeah.
Yeah, for the bigger ones, unless you got that card.
Ooh. Yeah, it's like Metalocalypse with metal. How the whole world
really
their primary economy is metal. Their band, and it's kind of like this with Willy Wonka's.
Yeah, exactly. Willy Wonka's metal AF is what we're saying.
Yeah, and you've got your competitors Slughorn and others, which
who I do think I was wondering is watching it, just like he is a real person.
Yeah,
but it's very much like I don't even know what a comparison would be. I don't know, Kroger to Walmart or something. It's like, yeah, he's big, but he's not Wonka, Walmart big. You know, I'm saying Sam Walton is Willy Wonka. No,
yeah,
he would use slave labor if he could have.
Yeah, the jokes I forget about in this first act that I really find funny is when the Wonka hysteria is hitting, and they're taking boxes of Wonka bars off of a plane into armored cars and shit. And then what?
I think this might have been the first time I saw that scene in HD and realized that they had rifles. That they were guarding it with rifles.
This is the first time I've watched it in 4K for sure.
And I don't know where I watched it on HBO Max or just Max. And I don't know. I don't think it was my TV. Maybe I accidentally reset my settings, but the whatever remaster they did, it had some of that like motion smoothing stuff going on. It looked weirdly digital in places. I don't know if that might have just been my display.
It didn't look like that on mine, and I watched it the same place.
Okay, then maybe I just need to.
But
settings. Maybe
it was crazy to see it that crisp. I also like the computer that he tries to get to predict where the next bar will be found.
It's the first Chat GPT is in this movie. That's what inspired Sam Altman. He said this. But fortunately, unlike a James Cameron movie, this robot has ethics and won't tell him where it is. Also, I like that he's inputting questions, but he's just tapping random buttons. There's no keyboard. He's just pushing like 6 buttons.
Analog tape. That's so crazy.
Analog tape. I wish I had a tape computer. I don't know why. I don't know what I would do with it. Just play around with punch cards.
Yeah. And there's also the random bit. It's like a sketch almost. It's like the woman whose husband's been kidnapped, and she's like presented with his life or her last case of Wonka bars, and she has to think about it. These are jokes I did not either remember as a kid or I didn't see or something,
I appreciated them. And I think this movie, in sort of that dark but yet whimsical humor. I think it really did influence my sense of humor to this day.
Yeah.
Because there are a lot of the jokes, like, I mean, including the ones we just mentioned, that I can memorize. I have those entire scenes memorized almost word for word.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's one of those.
It's one of those.
Yeah.
And even in those scenes, I want to say this movie has perfect casting.
Yeah.
Even down to the minor characters, down to their teacher, you know, who's just the goofiest looking, like not goofy to the point of caricature. He still seems like he could be a real
British
person.
face.
He's so British looking.
I know.
So goddamn British. And he seems like he'd be a cool teacher, although he kind of craps on Charlie for being poor.
Yeah.
He's also like, I can't do 2 as a percentage of 1,000. I'm like, it's 0.2%. It's 1 decimal place. What are you talking about? It's like, I don't know.
That's an easy joke. It works. And also, all of the kids in there had at least 100 bars.
Because the world revolves around chocolate. And none of them are fat somehow.
100 bars.
Yeah, over what time period? I think it's a couple months, the Wonka Mania.
You think so?
Yeah, maybe a month or two, you know. More in a couple weeks, less than like 6 months for sure.
Now, who's your
season, a quarter, we'll say.
Who's your favorite shitty kid? Anyone that's not Charlie.
Ooh, of the shitty kids?
Yeah.
The first thing that jumped in my head was Mike TV. Augustus is a bit, I mean, they're all pretty two-dimensional. Augustus is a bit one-dimensional, and he doesn't have as many lines, and he's not a native English speaker, I guess. And Veruca's just too, you know, I love to hate her, but she's too hateable as a child. I think Mike TV, I like that. I almost think that's Roald Dahl's vision of American kids glued to the TV and obsessed with toy guns. And I think looking at it through that lens, that's what I find funny. Also, I find funny that Wonka has these technologies, like with Mike TV, with his technology for that one, he pretty much invents teleportation and then just uses it for chocolate. That's all he does. Like, he's working on multiple Nobel Prize winning patents and discoveries.
That's a true auteur.
Uses it to give people diabetes. And that unwritten joke and like unspoken joke in the whole movie is so funny to me.
It is. Yeah, it's a true auteur. It reminds me of the leap in blockbuster digital filmmaking that happened because of George Lucas and the Phantom Menace and the prequels, like his focusing on like Jar Jar Binks fucking made digital filmmaking take another leap. And it's kind of like that in a way. It's just like sometimes auteur shit can, yeah, it's really funny to me. But as for my favorite shit kid, Veruca Salt, baby. She is so disgusting, reprehensible. It just cracks me up. And
a great performance.
And that's my favorite song in the movie. Is her song. It's
good. One of the criticisms I've heard of this movie from a musician is that all the Oompa Loompa songs are the same. Doesn't really bother me. As a kid, I kind of liked it. You get that refrain.
I do like that. And I also respect for Tim Burton's version for doing stuff different with the Oompa Loompas.
Which I understand, you know, if you're making a new version of the movie, you don't want just the same Oompa Loompa song.
Yeah. Also, yeah, it is funny. Like when I had it on the other night watching it, I was like, Parker, you know what the Oompa Loompas originally looks like, right? She's like, no. And for anyone watching, I'll just put up an actual original version of the Oompa Loompas from the book before it was changed. And,
African pygmies, man.
Yeah.
He was straight up getting labor from Africa, which, you know, I would expect that more from an American industrialist, but okay.
And she was like, what the fuck, dude?
And Willy Wonka, this is not as big of a deal. He was black in the book as well. I remember describing him as kind of having a goatee, and he was sort of like this kooky black man.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Which, you know, I'm not opposed to that.
So the exact opposite of Johnny Depp.
But yeah, I'm not opposed to having any race play Willy Wonka, although considering that he's also using pygmies as labor, it kind of, I'm like, well, Roald Dahl must have a weird view of blackness if this is his thing. And, he grew up in early 20th century Britain, so I can't imagine like there were a ton of, I don't know, what do you call African Americans in Europe? I don't know. That sounds like the opening to a joke. Black. I think the word's black.
Yeah.
Unlike this coffee.
The we're talking about Veruca Salt. Veruca, the way she controls her dad at the factory, not like Willy Wonka's factory, but at her dad's actual factory. And just the visual image of having all of his workers pull thousands of bars an hour just for his daughter.
For 4 days.
It's incredible.
The equivalent to today, probably millions in revenue.
And I feel like that's like so accurate what it would be like today if this promotion was happening. And he was ahead of his time with the joke of Mike TV, because it's only gotten worse. Like, and that's the late 60s, early 70s, is like, oh, we're going to whittle down the American child to two stereotypes, TV addicted and obsessed with cowboys and guns and stuff. And for 1971, that's crazy to me that it was so.
Right. And now we have school shooters and Fortnite kids.
Yeah.
And iPad babies.
Yeah.
Well, and I think Matilda's very critical of screens too. He had some other things. Like he in I never read it. What's it called? But he hates beards. Like Roald Dahl he put the cur in Mudgeon in curmudgeon. And the guy was a war veteran. It's so he was an interesting cat. But
what's the deal with beers? Who gives a shit?
He just like thinks it makes you look stupid and primitive and unprofessional. I don't know.
Yeah, the whole time, every time I see that factory scene and that lady like holds up the ticket, I'm like, dude, you should have swiped that ticket, put it in your pocket, go home, quit the fucking factory, and then, get your lifetime supply of chocolate, work somewhere else. I would have swiped that shit, put it in my pocket so fast.
Yeah, she wanted the bonus. And also she probably was afraid somebody would see it. She got fired. Also, she's probably just like, finally, I can stop opening these candy bars. Although they're just shelling peanuts the rest of the day, which I guess they didn't have peanut shelling technology. I don't know. I'm not caught up to date on the peanut world. I just eat them.
Yeah.
I just stole a couple pounds from Five Guys because I forgot how expensive it was. And now I was like, well, if I'm gonna get this burger, I'm gonna get at least 3,000 peanuts from you as well.
Yeah, $20 for a burger, fries, and a drink.
Go fuck yourself.
For real. That's insane. I know that's a bandwagon, but it's true.
The only capitalist I like, his initials are W. W.
Do you remember back in the day they used to have actual Wonka bars that
and I actually didn't love the Wonka bars.
I haven't had them since they came out, but I remember getting one. It was like, I think it was like just chocolate with like a graham cracker in it or something.
And some marshmallow.
I remember feeling a little disappointed that it wasn't more extravagant. That I think
it wasn't. They're not going to have like Swiss chocolate for their tie-in product, but it's still, I walk by and I see Wonka cereal for $5 plus in the aisles with Gene Wilder's face on it. And I know there's that movie coming out with, Timothy Kalamazoo, but it's amazing the staying power this movie has had. And that children today still know the character, which is tough because they don't know Indiana Jones, but they know Willy Wonka.
Yeah, that is crazy.
Both men with great hats, but only one is relevant in the minds of children today still.
Yeah, there's just it's rated G, but there's a couple things that I don't know if they have in the TV edit or not. Like, we should mention that there's real animal death in this movie.
Wait, in what part?
And when they're on the boat and they're having the psychedelic freak out, you see a chicken get its head cut off.
Oh yeah.
That's fucking cool. Crazy.
How did that scene affect you as a kid?
I don't know if I even noticed it, really.
Did you just block it out?
Not until later. Well, also, like, of all the real animal death that could be in a movie, that's the least offensive, I think, because my dad would tell me stories back in the old country about like chopping and killing chickens and like having to learn to do shit on the farm and stuff. So it's kind of graphic, but I eat chicken every goddamn day. So,
I think it's good for kids to know that. I think my niece was like 5 when she figured out that food chicken and animal chickens are the same.
yeah.
Which is we're very divorced from our food, we're food. I remember watching my pawpaw gut fish and clean fish.
I watched my dad gut some fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Which is, I think it's good for a kid to see.
Now, a quick side note to viewers at home. Back in like 2015 or 16, there was this incredibly funny BuzzFeed, like at the height of BuzzFeed, there was like a video, I think it was BuzzFeed, where they had all of their like super like
Stereotypical Brooklyn hipsters from 2011.
like city liberal, like dainty kind of yeah, city kids, and they had them go out, these journalists, and go kill their own chickens to eat them. And when it got to actually killing the chickens, a lot of these people started having like breakdowns on camera, and it became really intense really quickly, and like the entire video derails. And I remember finding it really funny and also really dark. And it was bizarre to me that BuzzFeed posted the video anyway, because I think a lot of them were vegan or something like that.
Wait, BuzzFeed posting bottom of the barrel content for clicks?
Well, it was just like it got so emotionally intense with these people that I'm surprised that they didn't say, "Hey, let's not upload this."
They're all whores.
I know.
It gotta be there.
I don't even know if it's still around, but it's just really funny. And that's what that scene in Willy Wonka makes me think of to this day.
If you were watching and you wondered why I got up and walked around my apartment, I was walking to see if I still have my Wonka Halloween costume.
Oh yeah, you were Wonka 2022.
I was, man. I got the Wonka costume.
Don't worry, I'll put up a picture of us at the arcade.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. You can see me without a beard and my third chin. It's nice.
Whatever, dude.
Whatever, dude.
I like the best thing about the movie is that it knows how to build up, because you get to see each kid find the chocolate, and then you get to see Charlie and his grandpa share a bar, which is super important because that's a fake out. But then you get a second fake out with the guy who faked the 5th ticket win. So you get both of those fake out moments where you think, oh, he's going to get the ticket now. No.
Yeah. And of course he's not from a European or American country. He's from a Latin American.
Yeah. Thankfully, all the kids that go to the factory speak English.
Yeah. What was he going to do if there's a Japanese kid in there? And he has to run the company, but
surely one of the Oompa Loompas is like a translator or something.
I don't know. The actors for the Oompa Loompas, by the way, they were all lip syncing. I mean, none of them spoke English, so they just had to learn it phonetically.
Oh, okay. That's funny about the Oompa Loompas is that it's like, okay, well, obviously we're not going to make it like the old way. We're going to make these guys kind of fantastical. What do? We'll give them orange faces and green hair and make them real garish looking. Which is fine. It's just a weird choice, but
it works.
It works. And it's funny to me that in the Tim Burton one, it's just like 1,000 Deep Roys, just copy and pasted.
Deep Roy from Neverending Story, right in the snow. That's such a great name, Deep Roy.
I know. Yeah. That's just funny to me.
No, they didn't want to make them, orange. But do you think there were plants, that's the thing. Slugworth shows up, and you can't think about it too much is really what it is, because it's a family.
Well, I thought that as a kid, actually, that they were planted on purpose as like a trial, but
because for example,
no way.
Yeah, it doesn't make sense, because I understand why you might want to plant for Charlie, and maybe the Candyman is actually employed for Wonka because Wonka controls the entire candy economy. of the world. He's like the Rothschilds in this universe.
Yeah, but with chocolate.
Yeah, but with chocolate. The God damn it. But why would Slugworth is in the factory when Veruca Salt gets her chocolate, right?
Yeah.
After opening it but how did he know it was going to be that day after 4 days of opening? And he just hanging around? Was he impersonating a worker?
Yeah, that's the biggest thing.
And then why would Wonka want Veruca anyway? Like, why would she think she would be one to test? Or is he just delighting in finding the archetypes of different, almost like 7 deadly sins, and then punishing them for it?
That's the real question. Because that always bothered me as a kid, as Slugworth, or who we think is Slugworth. How did he know to be there? And I like to think that there's a bit of magic that we're not putting into account here.
No, there's magic in this world, and I really think what it is the candy economy is magic. And it's the thing is that this is a child's world, and it is about the power comes from the magic and the wonder of childhood, which is underscored very directly when he said an adult cannot run my factory. It needs a child, because basically an adult will want to do their own things, and they'll MBA it and cut costs and quality and ruin it, but a child won't do that. Because he'll understand the importance. And it's done as a joke. One of the simplest jokes I still like, as stupid as it is. He throws a shoe in the pot, and he's like, gives it a nice kick, or whatever. Yeah. But I think he like puts a coat, or what is it, trousers, when something's too cold, he puts that in the pot. There is magic to it. And I really think he uses magical properties of like weird transmutation to create this chocolate, There's got to be, Roald Dahl doesn't outline the magic system like he's freaking Patrick Rothfuss or something, but it's there. It's there, man.
Yeah. No.
He's an alchemist.
The Candyman, who opens with the first song. First of all, I like his song. But it was funny, is like, right as I was deciding that we're going to do this episode, I saw on Twitter, like, people arguing about the Candyman from this and declaring that he's a shitty business owner for giving out what seems to be free candy to all these kids.
I always wondered that as a kid. I'm like, okay, did they pay ahead, or do they have tabs? Because then when Broke Boy Charlie walks up, he's like, hey, bud, hey, stop eating that scrumdiddlyumptious.
Yeah, where's my fucking 2 cents?
Where's my asshole money? I'm this American candy shop owner in this British town. Where's my pound?
Yeah. Because he just goes crazy with it. He's like throwing shit everywhere, and I don't know. But I just thought that was funny. It's like
I assume they put like a $5 on the, and it was because apparently, parents want their children to stimulate the candy economy. And that's what it is.
Speaking of economy, Charlie's mom she works like, she does like laundry by hand, I guess.
Yeah.
For people. That sucks.
Which, even back then, washing machines existed. There were more efficient methods, and it's not like dry cleaning. So
yeah, it reminds me of shit that people would have to do at like the very early 20th century, and not in the 70s. And it feels not complete. There are contemporary elements, but some of it does feel
intentionally
out of time.
Anachronistic. Yes.
Yeah. Especially because the town they are in does not look British at all. And it looks.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I think it looks more like more German-ish, or like something in that kind of realm.
I could see that more Central Europe.
But I don't know. It's
continental.
It makes it interesting, though. I don't know. But
while we're talking about his mom, who is, I always assume Charlie's dad died because
I forget that he's dead in this.
He has to be, because I feel like they're such a pure and wholesome family. It can't be like he left or something. It had to be. Maybe he died in the war. I don't know. Charlie's too young for that. It doesn't matter.
His dad's in the Tim Burton one, and he
Well,
works at a shitty factory.
yeah, Christopher Lee. Yeah, he just disappears.
No, that's Willy Wonka.
Go to therapy, dude. Jesus.
Yeah.
Well, his mom is very, archetypal, strong working woman, and almost has to undo Grandpa's Joe's attempted corruption of the boy. Which there's all the Grandpa Joe hate, which is kind of a funny joke, but I don't even know if I want to address it. Maybe I will a bit.
It is a very popular meme of him jumping up out of bed all of a sudden because he gets
welfare queen.
Yeah. Yeah. So, that's part of the magic.
It is magic,
Also, it plays it like he's supposed to be like elderly as fuck in like his late 80s or something, but the guy's only like 63 and he doesn't look that old now comparatively, because people, I guess, on average live longer now, even though it's just 50 years ago. But
yeah, well,
he doesn't look that old.
He's a smoker. No, he doesn't look that old. Well, that's why he can sing and dance and stuff. What do you think of the song Good Night, Charlie? As a child, I would fast forward through it, and I think a lot of people would.
I was actually fascinated when I started seeing discourse about this on the internet, that a lot of people fast forward through it. I don't have a fucking problem with it. I don't understand. I think it serves up an interesting way to show a boy who's thinking to himself while walking home, and it adds a little oomph to the lead up to his big break in a way that I like. I don't know. It works fine for me.
Well, I think the song, it's not as dynamic as some others.
Yeah, but it's not even that long.
It's not that long. And yeah, I think a lot of the this was shot in Germany, actually. Yes.
So I called it. Boom.
Called it. Boom. But I think it really is important for the theming of this entire event. All of the Wonkamania is right as of the precipice of Charlie's adolescence, and it's him trying to find this chocolate bar, is him holding on to the last of his childhood innocence,
for sure,
as he's trying to provide for his family and do all that. And this song really underscores that thematically, even in the lyrics, which I won't read to you, but it's very much about his mom recognizing that her boy is about to lose his innocence, which is something I can respect even more, because that's always something I've been interested in thematically my entire life, is that loss of childhood or childlike wonder, and how we lose that. And that's something, quite frankly, in my personal life I've been trying to regain recently, because I felt crushed by adult responsibilities. That's why I do podcasts about Willy Wonka.
And that's why I and many others revisit video games we played as a child a lot. That's why I collect old GameCube games, or even I even try and find some of the DS games that I could never afford to play as a kid, just because I wanted to try them out. I don't know. That's part of it.
But we're in a very nostalgia-driven culture right now, anyway.
I know,
and also we're like, kids are expensive, so we're just gonna be kids forever.
Yeah,
I do think a lot of people have trouble. I've been thinking the past 24 hours of why people have kids. I think a lot of it's just a general denial of death and desire for immortality, and just the biological drive. And also, people can't pull out. That's another one. But I do think another one is people almost need to have children in order to feel that childlike wonder, and to witness it and to feed off of it. Maybe.
Yes,
this is for some individuals.
Christmas in my family isn't the same anymore, because there's no little kids to surprise with presents and do the whole Santa Claus and take them to do this or that. And it's just like, we're all adults. We don't want to buy a bunch of shit ton of presents when none of us can afford it. So it's kind of like, well, okay, there's no kids to surprise around here. So it does take a lot of the fun out of it. And I was thinking about that. If like I had a kid, Christmas, the magic of Christmas will come back in a different way. And not just that, but other things in my life. And, I'd have a little kid to make watch every Godzilla movie, etc.
Well, my brother had a kid, so I got out of that.
Yeah,
Gobbling.
you at least, yeah, it would be nice to have.
I get to be the cool uncle who, until she's older, my niece won't understand how sad my bachelor life is. I'm just cool and play video games.
Hell no, dude. Well, she knows that you're the number one film podcast on the internet. So
yeah, that's what I tell her. I lie to her. She's big into
no,
YouTube. Child.
I don't want my brother or sister to have kids anytime soon. So for the time being,
no, your genes need to stop with you, Adrian.
Kind of just chilling.
Genes need to not spread.
Yeah, I think like, oh, do I want to raise a kid and have to deal with that, or would I rather spend money on cool movies and like Disney World and going to do whatever
my mental illness stops with me. Okay, there's enough Scott in the world.
Yeah,
there's too much. There's already too much Scott in the world, and that's not a fat joke. Although I could lose another 20 pounds and be nice, but like there's I'm done.
Anyway,
anyway,
Cheer Up Charlie works, especially because it's like you've got the hopeful build up fake out of Grandpa Joe with the bar, and then you've got the Cheer Up Charlie, and then you've got where you think the last bar has been claimed, and then we have the beautiful build up of him finding the coin and then learning that, oh shit. And the best part is that he doesn't learn it until after he's bought the candy. And then we have the beautiful moment of him slowly opening the package. And that build up for that first like 30 minutes really makes my heart swell when it finally gets to the scene.
Even the little bitty flute that acts as a stinger when you see that little bit of gold foil. Yeah. And then it crescendos with all the brass. It's perfect. It's just it's perfect scoring.
It immediately emulates butterflies in your stomach, and it just feels. And my heart swells with joy, man. It's a beautiful.
I'm getting goosebumps thinking about it.
It's a fun, beautiful movie, and I'd much rather have kids watching this over and over than any of the other slop that kids watch over and over.
Yeah, when I was 4, I was watching this and not Trolls, and I think my mom still likes this movie, which is a testament to how rewatchable it is, because this movie has texture,
In comparison, my brother watched the movie Cars over and over and over,
which is not even a bad movie,
three times a day. But it's like out of every Pixar movie of the 2000s, he happened to pick the weakest one.
Yeah, not Nemo or something. Yeah, that's pretty lame.
It's just like
your brother sounds like it.
I never ever need to watch that movie again.
I've never seen Cars, and I don't.
Oh yeah, it's worth watching once, but it's much better to just go on the ride at Disneyland, which is really cool because it's a hybrid dark ride and a thrill attraction. Like it takes you through the world of Cars and you're inside a car, and then it takes you outside the Radiator Springs and you like race around. It's a cool ride, underrated. And I'm not even big into the movie. Anyway, the Run Charlie, run as fast as you can all the way home. I only think of the Family Guy parody of that.
That's
scene.
all I can think. The Fortnite character, Peter Griffin.
Oh yeah, the Fortnite guy, yeah. And the I got a golden ticket. That's
there's a couple. That's a really good parody episode.
Yeah.
And then Futurama has a really good parody episode.
Yeah.
Which that was one of the first Futurama episodes I'd seen.
Oh yeah, dude, Slurms McKenzie. That's an OG kind of thing.
Slurms McKenzie. God.
The funny thing.
So Willy Wonka is like Jaws because we don't see him for a while.
Yeah, we don't see him till 40 minutes into the movie.
And he's the title of the movie.
Charlie, when he comes in and he like says everything that happened in like one exasperated sentence, it's really funny because that's how kids would act. Also, like, I don't know, but the funny thing that always stands out to me and always bothered me as a kid, probably because I was a titty boy, was that he immediately asked his grandpa Joe to go, not his hardworking, slaving over laundry mother. And I'm like, how would she probably felt bummed out that she wasn't at least asked first? Like, damn, dude.
His mom's a buzzkill. That's why. His mom's trying to get him to study and not spend his money on chocolate. And Grandpa Joe, he's token up. He's eating candy with the kid.
Up until like the last week or so, he'd been spending their money on tobacco. So fuck him. Only then was he like, I'll give it up and I'll just buy a chocolate bar instead because that'll feed the family. What a piece. Nah, but
hey, that bread looks pretty good that he bought at the beginning.
Yeah, that's true.
Even though it's a prop.
What's for dinner, Mom? Oh, we're 6 of us are going to split a loaf of bread.
Yeah.
Like,
and cabbage soup.
Oh, and cabbage soup. Great.
Which I don't even feel like a loaf of bread is a step up. It's like not even, it's the same tier of poverty to me.
For sure. And it's like, you think if his mom would have went instead of Grandpa Joe, would she have told him to put the gobstopper in his pocket to take the
well, there wouldn't have been a fizzy lifty drink problem.
Oh yeah, probably.
That's why.
Who knows?
But we can speculate on the alternate universes of Willy Wonka. On the Wonka.
Yeah, when are we getting the the Wonkaverse? Back to the Wonkaverse
first, dude.
Yeah, and the fact that like it is about 40 to 45 minutes before they show up to the factory is a great sign of pacing, because to me it feels like 25 minutes max. It's actually insane.
It's 45 minutes. It's that much.
I paused it and I was like, "There's only 57 minutes left in this movie. What the fuck?"
That's confidence, is what it is. And also, this movie wasn't made on a huge budget. I read a book on the making of this movie when I was a kid, and they really had to figure it out. And this is obvious if you know anything about movie making, but they were unwrapping blocks of wood instead of chocolate bars in the factory because that's obviously cheaper. But
okay.
But this didn't have a huge financial backing,
but what they did with their budget so good, and it's the fact that like there are parts within the factory that have that 60s what's the word,
grime.
No, well, yeah, but like the soundstage, but they do the soundstage in a way where it feels like this is what the factory would actually look like. It doesn't feel too soundstagey. They do the best with what they can with the given space, and it doesn't feel like a lot of other 60s movies in that way.
No, there's depth in the scenes, and a lot of that's just the production design. There's props. You don't even know what they all do, but you're not supposed to, so it works.
Yeah.
At one point, when they're in the experimentation room, the adults even comment of how it's a disorganized dump.
Yeah.
After how beautiful the first room, imagination room, is. Which, by the way, when they opened those doors, and they did not show the room to all the actors initially, so they could get the first take of them being legitimately in wonder.
That's smart.
Yeah.
Also, there's that there are tidbits of like information about films that become very viral on the internet. As like when Aragorn kicks the helmet and it broke his toe or whatever, stuff like that. That's just like been talked about to death, been reblogged on Tumblr to death, et cetera, et cetera. And one of those is like the bit about how it was Gene Wilder's idea and he didn't want to do Willy Wonka unless he got to do the scene where he limps out to the audience. And that's like a good idea from him, because obviously you don't know what to expect after he does this stunt. Unpredictable. But the thing that sticks out to me during this part is that while he's limping forward, no one's ever seen Wonka all this time, and everyone's excited to see him. But like, why does everyone look so goddamn appalled that he's using a cane? They all look sick. Like,
I was thinking that it's like, maybe he just hurt himself. He works in a factory. I don't know.
God forbid this guy has to use a cane now.
I mean, look, his factory is not OSHA compliant. Let's get that.
Yeah, but like, what's the big deal? That never understood.
I think it's also his stone face sort of, I don't know, war veteran 1,000-yard stare look. Do you think Willy Wonka was in the war?
Maybe.
He's like, shooting rock candy at Nazis.
He used his inventions to defeat the Axis power. That'd be pretty sick. Until until he makes the Oompa Loompas come with him. But that's a great idea though that he insisted on that. I just find that because there's a shot, but in particular, it made me laugh. It was like Charlie looks disgusted that he's using a cane.
Yeah,
I'm like, what the fuck?
It's like your Grandpa Joe's been bedridden for your whole life.
Yeah, and
I wonder what the hell smells.
What I pay attention to is really how excited he seems to be. He already knows. You can tell in his face that he already knows these kids are kind of nasty, but he's like excited to get them into the place to see what their downfall will be. You know,
it is an odd thing and it's sadistic, which is why Wonka is such an interesting character because he knows the entire time. Like some of his quips of just the things he says to the parents in particular, he'll just roast them. Or Mike TV shouts, and I'm a trifle deaf in this ear. Talk a little louder next time. These things that might go over a young child's head, but he's just being passive aggressive the entire time.
Yeah.
And it's almost like, so are they gonna? Is the media going to report after of what happened to these naughty children, and he wants to use it as like a Grimm's fairy tale because he's sick of the state of the world and the state of children right then?
Yeah,
or is he just a sadist? And he's like,
fuck it, I'm leaving this with the kid. He's gonna have to inherit all of the lawsuits and shit, I guess.
Yeah, dude. I know. I bet he owed so many back taxes. Yeah, this kid who's never had more than a pound, who's never had a pound to his name.
Yeah.
And I'm like, do any of those Oompa Loompas know QuickBooks by any chance? Because somebody's gonna have to help him out with that part of the business.
It would have been funny if we saw like a shot of like where Wonka does his taxes, and it's like them literally cooking books in an oven or something as like a
That'd
joke.
Be funny.
I don't know.
I mean, everything in how's he supposed to do it? All of his spreadsheets would be cut in half in his office when he's doing it.
That's true.
You know, he'd be like, we only have expenses. We don't have any revenue on the spreadsheet. It's just there was a sequel which I did not read called Charlie and the Great Glass Elevator. Say that 5 times.
I wanted to read it, and 2 times that I went to go look for it in my elementary school library, it was checked out both times, and I didn't get to read it. And I think that's because it was around the time that the remake came out, and so there was Wonka Mania. But yeah, I never got to read it as a kid, but I wanted to. I wanted to know what the hell was going on.
Man, the toughest stand-up I've ever had to follow is the host was arguing that Johnny Depp was a better Willy Wonka.
Oh,
I had to follow
brother.
at a house show. It went all right. I turned the crowd around. I was able to, I did some crowd work, worked it out. Because I'm a pro, not really. I'm thinking of quitting. But I don't know what anything is anymore. I don't have any childlike wonder. I have nothing to live for. Yes, even chocolate tastes bland to me.
Oh well,
where's my Wonka?
You can't be eating Hershey's and expect to, you got to get the good shit.
You're right. I need to do that.
When my cousin Vasil came to visit, he lives in Switzerland, and he brought actual like badass Swiss chocolate with him and gave me some. Dude, I'm still riding off of that high.
I've never had it. The closest I've had is Lindor's. I mean, I've had chocolate made from other countries and stuff, but not the high tier, god tier chocolate.
Yeah, because it was like, my
Swiss
God.
tier. They flavor it with all that cartel money they launder.
Yeah, doesn't bother me, dude. And Hershey's has never bothered me either. British people hate Hershey's. They tell everyone that it tastes like puke. Us Americans are just used to the taste. I don't give a fuck.
I think that's true, but also I'm not trusting the British's opinion on cuisine.
No,
fuck you and your chippy tea.
Have you ever had a Chinese? No. Makes me want to barf anytime I see any of their food on TikTok.
I hope more Indians and Pakistanis mess with the culture of Britain and undermine it from the inside, quite frankly. At least on that. I went to Britain, and like the best thing I had was Nando's, which is like fast casual. It's like, come on, have some respect for yourself.
Yeah, their national dish is tiki masala. Go fuck yourself, piece of shit.
They know. That's an admission of guilt right there.
You go to a Chinese place in Britain and they give you a battered deep fried sausage with chips and fucking fried noodles. Like,
okay, American Chinese food has some bullshit too. Although I do like those greasy noodles.
But there's no vegetables in the noodles over there, no nutrients. It's fucked.
You don't need it.
Anyway, the a line I didn't really pay attention to until this watch that I liked a lot was when they're in the room supposed to be signing contracts. And first of all, I like that Charlie's grandpa's like, we have nothing to lose. Sign it. Sign away, Charlie. And it's like, fuck it. But it's when they put up their coats and like the coat hands like grab the coats and they all scream. He says really fast, little surprises around every corner, but never dangerous. he insists that, and that's
well, at the end of the movie, he insists that all the kids are fine, but
yeah,
are they?
I don't know.
I also think he's it's weird. He's almost like Jigsaw. He almost designed challenges for them. I'm like, okay, can Aglustus make it through? Can these kids make it through? And he's just effing with them. He's like, oh, that goes to the furnace, whatever.
Yeah, it's like if the Saw franchise was good. No, I'm just kidding. It's definitely more for me. I don't do. If you've listened to other horror casts that we've done, I don't do heavy gore. I can't do the Saw movies. I did the first one out of respect for my friend Sam, but once it gets to intestine stuff, that's why I'm like, okay, fuck this.
No chitlins for Adrian.
Yeah, there's thankfully no debowelment in this movie. There's just a fat kid drinking chocolate water, which obviously they couldn't use actual liquid chocolate. So, but that always stuck out to me. It's like clearly just colored water.
Yeah, well,
the weird thing is like they agree to go in here and have a good time and stuff, but it's like they go into the first room, which is a shrinking hallway, and they all immediately panic and act like it's incredibly fucked up and worn out and stuff. And then they go out of that room into the other shrinking hallway, and they're like doubting that there's even chocolate here. Just immediately, they're all pissed off, all the parents. I'm like, what's the big deal? Like, it's not like, I mean, it's just like a silly little trick.
It's a movie. The room is bigger than in my headcanon. The room is smaller, but they had to fit a camera in there, so they had to make the room bigger than it is in the movie world. I don't know. They do act like it's
It just
what is this, some kind of fun house? Why, having fun?
Yeah, what's wrong with the fun house? Like he's playing around. He's trolling you. I don't know. It's like going to the carnival or something. That just always stuck out to me. Like, why are they so pressed about it?
Because they don't have childlike wonder.
That's true. Point. Yeah, that's true.
Everything they encounter non-Euclidean geometry and their minds break like they just saw Cthulhu.
Yeah, it's like the nuance of Wonka is strange because like you can tell he's going to enjoy having these kids come into there because he wants to fuck with them because of the way his demeanor around when he's talking to the kids at the front gate. But then when he walks into the candy room, he's very genuine when he's singing about imagination, and you can tell he really does enjoy his work and what he's created, and that he has a soft fascination for it. And I like when he sips the tea and then eats it. It's very pure. And then the scene immediately after it, Augustus Goop almost dies, and then he takes them on a psychedelic freak out and shows them intense, crazy imagery. Scares the shit out of them.
Right, which brings tension throughout the whole movie because I mean, we've seen it 100 times, but you're trying to figure Wonka out because he's such an enigma. Which is where Gene Wilder's performance is rightly praised, possibly the best performance of several great comedic performances. and because it does walk that knife's edge and does so successfully. He can do it with a sarcastic line and a sneer, but also show genuine warmth in his singing, in offering Charlie the factory. It's terrific, iconic for a reason.
It really is. And the whole time I watched this movie, I couldn't help but think like there should be some sort of Willy Wonka themed area at like Universal Studios or something like that.
Yeah, I don't think Warner Brothers. Well, they're Wizarding World. That's Warner Brothers.
Yeah, yes, but I think J.K. Rowling directly sold the rights to Universal Studios, I think, for Harry Potter.
For Harry Potter World.
Yes.
Okay. So we would need I could see a Willy Wonka dark ride.
Yeah. If they had like the boat and had like a psychedelic shit, and then see there's like their dark rides now, like Rise of the Resistance, Star Wars, where like you've already started the experience of the ride, even though you're not on a moving vehicle yet, where like they're taking you onto this Star Destroyer and they're taking you onto this ship. And then it's only halfway through that you actually get into the ride vehicle. But the whole thing is an experience. And to think the whole time I was thinking of like, if they did this with Willy Wonka, dude, it could be a baller ass ride. And then you exit the ride into like some sort of crazy candy room. Of course, you'd have to pay for the candy, but still, I don't know.
Maybe one day Warner Brothers will build a park with, I don't even know what they'd have, Mad Max rides with explosions going off around.
I don't know. That's the thing is like they're building this giant new park in Florida called Epic Universe, and it's supposed to be like their craziest.
Who is Universal?
Yes, it's going to be their third park, but like their biggest and best park apparently. Like they're going like no expense spared. They're going to have their own Nintendo Land there that will already have the Donkey Kong expansion that's about to open in Japan. That's already going to be there with the Donkey Kong Country ride. And I think it's going to have both the Mario Kart and the Yoshi dark rides and not just one or the other because they can only fit so much over in Hollywood. It's a very small, much smaller park. But if they had like some Wonka shit, you know, this Timothée Chalamet movie, I don't know if it'll be popular or not, but like it's the fact that this movie has been sustainable for so long speaks to the true classic that it is. So yeah, my theme park special interest came out a little bit, but I can't help but think about that.
Even I think about it.
That's potential.
Of course, I also think about it because I know you're going to bring it up on the cast. I'm casting with Adrian. He's going to bring up that this should be a theme park, right?
Yeah. Just like my Cave of Wonders pitch from Aladdin. Disney's stupid for not doing an Aladdin ride.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Well, they have like a magic carpets, but you just fly around. They need a full-on AAA title dark ride. Anyway, that's the best way I can say it. An e-ticket attraction, if you will. Yeah. So the candy room is pretty cool. And I still think it holds up remarkably, even though it's just a soundstage.
Yeah. It's all very, and seeing it in high definition, it's like, yeah, I knew those were balloons as a kid, but when he's kicking the balloons, they really look like balloons, but I don't care. Yeah. And I think part of that suspension of disbelief is, I don't know, it's healthy to practice that in movies. And you practice it with CG as well. When I saw Godzilla -1, I wasn't like, that's not real. Stupid.
You'd be the most annoying person on the planet.
No, and the fact that they actually built the fake cup, which, by the way, I don't think was filled with liquid, but Gene Wilder made it look like it was filled with liquid.
Hell yeah, he did.
It. And then the fact that he eats it, I was always attracted to that as a kid.
Yeah, so the poor Augustus Gloop pretty much ate himself to death. Not really, but
screw him.
That's probably the funniest death. Not death. Why do I keep saying death? In my head, it's like these kids are dying one by one. But I do like Bricusse. It's the most apt. But
yes, that's the most karmic, it seems.
Yeah, for sure. But the fizzy lifting drink scene. How do you feel about that scene? Because that's not in the book, and people are kind of split on that scene.
Why do they think it's out of character for Charlie?
Yeah.
I don't think it's out of character for Grandpa Joe, and I think that Charlie idolizes his grandpa and would do what he says. And in a moment, just without thinking, he could be like, okay, because he's so excited.
Yeah.
That's another one it's kind of a terrifying scene.
Also, I think it's good for the film to have it because it does give that tension at the end that
Yeah, exactly.
what I don't understand, because I don't remember in the remake they don't have that scene in it, right?
I don't know, and I'm trying to remember how the book ends.
Because I'm trying to remember how is there any tension at the end of the Tim Burton one?
I don't remember. I saw it once, probably under the influence in your room when you lived at the cul-de-sac.
Oh, wow. Okay, yeah, that's probably the last time I saw any part of that movie.
Yeah, exactly.
So, yeah, 8 years ago, asshole.
I haven't read the book since I was 10.
Yeah, me either. Anyway, I like the scene. I also find it funny because really the other kids is kind of ambiguous. This is the only scene where it's like, okay, we could actually die right here, right now in a violent way in the middle of this movie. And it's really kind of strange when you think about it. Because they're actually like crying for help and shit.
Yeah.
I know. It's just funny. It's like, oh
yeah.
shit.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Real stakes.
Violet Beauregard.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna say it.
The only problem she has is she likes to chew gum too much.
Yeah, she's really not nearly as bad as the other kids. She's kind of bratty.
She does she tells her dad basically to shove off. But
she also tells Veruca to can it.
Yeah.
You appreciate.
So no, she's bossy.
And Augustus is not. Augustus isn't necessarily a bad kid. He's just a fatty.
He's gluttonous.
He's gluttonous.
He's drinking fucking shit out of a chocolate river with his hands, dude. That's pretty fucked up.
Would you not?
Nah, he would probably wait and see if he, if Wonka's like, here's a ladle or here's like a cup or something.
Yeah. Fair.
This guy couldn't contain himself, dude. He had to fucking get on his hands and knees and drink from the source, dude.
I wonder if that affected that kid's self-esteem throughout his life.
Dude, that's a great question.
It's you're the embodiment of child gluttony. Millions.
And it's such a good naming, dude. Augustus Gloop. You just
all of his names are on point. Veruca Salt, Charlie Bucket. Even.
Yeah, what's up with that?
His last name's Bucket. Mike TV. This is Mike TV.
Yeah. But yeah, Violet, she just likes to chew gum. I guess it's telling kids don't chew gum all the time.
But it's also like, okay, he hates that and he hates beards. He gets hung up on weird stuff.
He's like fucking Larry David. But
he's a neurotic old British guy.
That is the most fascinating aspect to me as a kid. The imagery that you get when she describes the gum and what it tastes like, and she can feel the soup running down her throat. To me, that was like the most imaginative, cool shit as a kid. Like, what if there was actually gum out there like that? So
yeah.
I like that kind of.
I feel like Wonka, if he wanted to, could solve world hunger, but just isn't interested.
Yeah, he doesn't give a shit.
He's just not interested in it. He could make a candy that gives you all of your nutrients for the day, and costs like a penny for a pack. And
yeah, and he can send it to you through the TV to your house. You don't even have to leave. But too bad.
Yeah. Well, you have to buy the Wonka Vision TV.
Oh yeah. Well, that'd be worth it for.
You could just have one for the whole village.
Yeah, in world hunger.
Yeah, but I guess it's expensive because it shrinks, so he has to make a giant pill. I don't know. Why is this movie not more logical? We really need airtight lore in the one upcoming Wonka movie.
Yeah. Yeah, Timothy Chalamet. I don't know. I might give it a watch just because I am morbidly curious. But also, that guy's a good director. Apparently, those Paddington movies are beloved by
I've been meaning to see
people.
them. Dude, I wish my niece liked movies more. Man,
That would be perfect to watch with her.
I don't know. I
But
could force her.
you know, it does
You
get
like reading more than movies. What a nerd.
it is bizarre to think like back then I was reading fucking 100 books a year, like it was just
I don't want to think
nonstop.
about it. It makes me
Yeah.
sad. Of course, I'm an editor. I stare at words all day. It's part of the problem.
Yeah, so I like Veruca's song the best with the I want the whole world. And it's just
Right. It's fun to see her tear stuff up, and I'm sure it's fun for the actress.
those poor Oompa Loompas are just trying to do their job and she's being a fucking menace. I don't know. It's good. The I will say props to the Tim Burton version with the squirrels because I did not realize that they actually had 100 fucking trained squirrels on set and it wasn't CG all the way. There was a lot of shots with actual squirrels that they trained. And that blew my mind to see them like in action in a behind the scenes video. So major props. That scene is great in the remake. But yeah, what the fuck? How do you even train a squirrel? I
was
don't
thinking
know.
that how do you train a squirrel? I mean, you can train mice or rats.
Yeah,
I don't know. It's just
that is just
conditioning.
bizarre. People at home, go look up that behind the scenes video. It's great. But hers is possibly the worst because that hole goes to the furnace and it's a 50-50 chance whether it's on that day. But that's the funniest to me. The funniest possible child death.
So does this? So here's the thing: is standing on it, and they're humans, and therefore they weigh the wrong amount. That's how the machine knows they're bad eggs. Or has Wonka developed like a Scientology auditing machine that can read somebody's soul and like? Is it the same magic
enchanted.
that Santa uses to see if you're naughty or nice?
The machine is enchanted with Wonka magic that knows if you've been bad or good. Yeah, he
Yeah.
probably borrowed it from fucking Santa. It's not a big deal.
Yeah, they're tight.
They're probably cool, dude.
They pledged,
Yeah, dude. They go on, sabbaticals together. No big deal.
Yeah, man. They got to work out. They have to have a business relationship. He probably gets his stocking stuffer, his candy from Wonka.
That's true. That's true. The now the Tim Burton version of the Mike TV shit, I also do like, not just because it's 2001: Space Odyssey, but I think it does work. And I always find it funny in the original when Mike TV is transported to the TV, you can see the difference in the black background and the black thing he's standing on. And it's not just a 4K thing. I even noticed it back when I was a kid. It's so slight, and your TV probably has to be just the right setting, but like you can see the difference. It never bothered me. For some reason, some kids could not handle when they noticed a special effect out of place and it would like ruin shit for them. That never bothered me as a kid.
I never got it either. It's a movie.
It just, you go along with it.
There is. So he breaks the kid's particles apart and then reassembles them like in Star Trek. So is it Mike TV or is it like a clone of Mike TV?
Yeah, I think it's a clone of Mike TV.
That's a philosophical.
I think
he doesn't seem to mind that he shrunk down to 6 inches or whatever, or not even that.
Yeah, but the original Mike TV, I think that's it. He's gone.
Yeah, and they reconstructed his matter, but his soul has been destroyed and replaced with another. I don't know how it works.
Yeah,
again,
dude.
The magic system is not explained very well in this movie.
Yeah, dude, that's a shame. Let's dig up old Dahl and fucking ask him. Let's use some of Wonka's magic to raise him from the dead, just so we can ask lore
Black
questions.
Wonka magic.
Yeah.
This makes me hungry. And if you're hungry, this podcast is sponsored by IHOP, where you can get the Wonka pancake meal.
Oh my god, dude, IHOP's crazy. Denny's does that shit too. Denny's had that Hobbit meal or whatever.
Oh, I remember.
Shout out Rocco Bodie's personal channel.
It was good.
But that's such a bizarre time, and like seeing like you said, Gene, yeah, the original Willy Wonka on a cereal box in today is just like weird.
It's
Why they
odd.
didn't why did
Do
they
they
didn't
still
do
make
Timothy
Nerds?
Chalamet? I don't know.
Do they still make Nerds? Those candies?
Oh yeah, dude, that's the only one
That's the only
that
one that was really
that is
profitable.
a consistent seller for years and years and years. And I will say there's a weird phenomenon where like I like Nerds, they're okay though. I never seek them out. But
Yeah.
for some reason you add the jelly in the middle and you slap Nerds onto it and call it Nerd Clusters. Suddenly it becomes an S tier delicious fucking candy that Parker and I cannot stop fucking eating, and it becomes a problem where like you have to put that shit away, do not buy anymore. That's how good Nerds Clusters are. I don't
Yeah.
understand how that
Like beaver
works.
nuggets.
It's good. I don't know. When they do confront Wonka at the end, obviously there's tension. He tells them to leave. That's it. You know what's gonna happen is like, okay, Charlie's gonna be the good kid, whatever. And it may be because we've seen it already, but
Yeah.
I feel like that line where Grandpa Joe yells out as they're leaving that he's like, if Slugworth wants a Godstopper, he'll get one. I think that's an unnecessary line. I think they want to remind the audience the whole point, but
That's
like
what it is. They want to remind the audience, which is full of children.
it just sticks
And
out
by
to me,
by
dude.
that point in the movie, if you hadn't seen it before, you've likely forgotten about the Gobstopper as a seemingly, B tier, C tier plot point.
Yeah, I don't know, but it just sticks out to me now. It's not a
Yeah,
big deal.
you do think Wonka would be like, now what did you say? But it was a test, clearly. And so shines a good deed in a dark world, whatever he says.
Yeah, it's what would he have done if Charlie wouldn't have given back the
What if he had just gone public?
Yeah, that's what I'm wondering.
He would do an IPO on Wonka. It'd be a $10 billion IPO
Yeah.
on the NASDAQ.
Yeah.
Stock.
Would he go through another round of kids until he found the right one?
Yeah, would he just be like, hey, here's 5 more tickets, actually.
Yeah. That's don't give studios too many ideas. What if Wonka didn't find the right person to take off his blah blah blah? We get CG like resurrected. Oh my God.
Deep fake Gene Wilder.
Yeah,
God.
Gene Wilder, deep fake.
No.
That would be fucked
But where
up.
does he go after this?
Yeah, does he retire? What's he want to do? Is he gonna actually stay and show Charlie the ropes?
He has to, at least for a while.
Yeah.
He probably does for the next 20 years or something until he's too old to work. But again, I haven't read the sequel.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah, maybe I might look into the sequel and kind of read over it, see what it's about. Because now I'm interested. Because I like to think that Wonka's probably sick of candy. Who knows? Well, yeah.
I don't think he's sick of candy.
I don't think he's sick of it, but like, I don't know. Everyone needs a vacation.
Yeah, he can't because he runs the world economy.
What if what if he's lactose intolerant, can't eat milk chocolate? No, but I do love that scene where it's like I like the glass elevator in the remake, seeing it go throughout the factory because it's like 50 times larger inside, or probably like 1,000 times larger inside than what's possible. I do like that aspect of the remake. Like there are parts that I do find interesting and that they wouldn't have been able to do in the original.
Well, it wasn't just a shot for shot remake. They tried.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah. But I do like the rocket elevator in this original and the way it crashes through the roof and flies with the credits. It's very whimsical and it just ends like a warm hug to me. I've always liked that shot of it flying through the air.
And it does end like a warm hug because it literally ends in a warm hug.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Yeah.
And that last line was improvised because in the script it was just Grandpa Joe going yippee, or in the book it is. But
Wow, okay.
That the child who got everything he ever wanted lived happily ever after, which is interesting. Kind of a materialistic movie.
Yeah, well,
Chocolate makes you happy.
you know,
It's what chocolate represents.
yeah. And like, he does have 4 grandparents, all bedridden, and a mom who works at the laundry. So I'd much rather have to spend my child years learning factory work at a chocolate factory than my family have to live in that fucking shack. So
I don't know, maybe. Or maybe Charlie walks out of there like looking like Tiny Tim, Victorian era factory worker, missing fingers.
yeah, no. Or he gets the factory and then he acts like he doesn't know his family anymore. He leaves them to rot.
Oh yeah, he just starts blinging out.
Yeah.
What did you ever do for me, Mom?
As soon as he turns 18, he sells the whole factory and all the Oompa Loompas off and just goes and does other shit.
Yeah, hangs out with Baron Trump.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, what's that guy up to?
I don't know. I kind of want Trump to be reelected just so we can have Baron.
Okay, let's strike that from the record, even as a joke.
He's gonna have dreads one day. I know it. I'm waiting.
No, he's gonna be like the son from GTA 5, just a complete obnoxious dickhead, smoking weed with like lesbian wallpaper and shit on his fucking wall, and
Okay,
like
don't call me out like that.
flipping off his sister and shit. Nah, but anyway, final thoughts on Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory.
I think I've said what I needed to say. I think it's a beautiful movie and it's inspiring, honestly. It's inspiring me to reconnect with my inner child. And this movie helped do that and spur that desire.
Yes. And I hope that this Wonka prequel isn't just a, hey, your parents and grandparents remember this movie, so now you're going to see this movie. Hopefully it's like kids actually do enjoy Wonka other than this movie and that they get something out of it. And I hope there's a lot of revisiting the original because of the prequel. And I think it's such a classic that it's like Wizard of Oz level of like it just keeps getting passed down to every generation. And I think that's beautiful. So, but even I'm not having high hopes for Wonka, but I am going to see it anyway because I learned it was the Paddington director. So we'll see. Here's hoping it's just fluff for me and my family to go see over the holidays, so whatever. But I hope there is a slight edge to Wonka in the movie, but I don't know.
I'm not holding out for it.
I'm not either. Gene Wilder, rest in peace. Blazing Saddles is one of my favorite comedies of all time. Miss that guy. But
Mel Brooks is still alive somehow.
Mel Brooks, I was watching him in season 4 of Curb, which is in 2005, and he's a recurring character on that season, and he looks ancient in that. And I'm like, this was 18 years ago. How the fuck?
He shows up in an episode of Comedians in Cars Getting Coffee, and he's almost not bedridden, but he stays at his house. He has his little TV trays.
Yeah.
Old man.
That is crazy, though. Good for him, though. Anyway, thanks for watching, everybody. Not sure what next week will be, because next week is Christmas, if you're watching this episode now. So, anyway. Tune in next week for whatever that might be. Who knows? See ya.